안녕하세요. 여러분의 한국어 선생님 고빌입니다. Back when I was a beginner trying to learn Korean, I was looking around to find the perfect study notebook. I wanted something that I could use not only to take notes, but also to organize my grammar lessons and to learn and quiz myself on vocabulary, practice the alphabet as well as hanja, and to track all of my study sessions. And most importantly, I wanted it to be free. And it turns out that doesn't really exist. So I made it myself. This is the perfect study notebook that's easy to use and that's adaptable to different styles of learning. Everyone from brand new beginners to seasoned advanced learners. Print out only the pages you need and print as many of them as you need. So after several months of planning, designing, testing, and redesigning, I'm ready to share my new notebook. But first, a message from the sponsor of this video, my Patreon supporters and channel members. The reason I'm able to create so much free content like this is directly thanks to those of you who support me financially. And if you are also interested in becoming one of my supporters, there are links in the video description box below. So to download the study notebook, all you have to do is join my Patreon page. You can join the free tier on my Patreon page and download all of them. Or if you'd like to help support me to make more content, please also consider joining one of my paid tiers on Patreon, which also comes with extra benefits. You can get my personal vocabulary deck, exclusive Patreon-only posts, as well as getting to watch my new videos before they go live here on YouTube. So let's talk about what you get. This notebook comes with 13 unique sheets and variations. All of them use simple designs and low contrast colors, so they're easy to write on, and you can even print them in black and white if you prefer. First is the daily study sheet, which will be your bread and butter for taking notes. If you don't have any special study needs, just get this one. The top section is made for studying grammar. You can write down grammar forms on the left side and notes and examples on the right side. The middle part is for taking notes, and the bottom section is for writing down new vocabulary words. There are also check boxes on the left of each word, so you can use it to quiz yourself once or twice. Next is the time tracker, which I also recommend and is a much more organized version of what I used to make for myself back when I was a beginner. Make a mark next to each hour and minute that you spent studying and write down what you learned on the right side. Keeping track of how often you study and for how long will be useful later when you're adjusting your schedule. I can't tell you how many students I've talked with who had no idea how long they actually study Korean or what kinds of things they're learning. So fill out this one too every time you study, and it just takes a few seconds. Okay, next is the han-gul worksheet, which is a simple practice grid for brand new beginners. When I was just getting started, my writing was pretty horrific. Writing syllables in a square grid is much more useful than regular lined paper because Korean syllables are supposed to look balanced. And a basic grid will help with that. And I don't think this one needs any more explanation, so let's move on to the next one. This is the hanja worksheet for more advanced learners, and there are two versions of this sheet. The full version comes with space to practice writing each letter really large first, as well as space to write down its name and its pronunciation, and the compact version is the same thing, but made only for practicing the character. Personally, I prefer a compact version when I'm practicing hanja, but it's up to you. Next is the sentence practice sheet, which also has two versions. The full version gives you plenty of space to write notes and definitions and anything else to help you fully understand your sentences. And there's room for 8 sentences. And the compact version is just that. It's more compact and has room for 16 sentences. Personally, I think if you're going to be writing down sentences anyway, you might as well take lots of notes. But advanced learners can probably get away with the compact version. And next is the grammar practice sheet, which is essentially just the top part of the daily study sheet, but full size. Because whenever I study grammar, I tend to take a lot of notes, so I'll often need more space than just the daily study sheet. So you can use them both. Next is the vocabulary worksheet, and there are also two versions. The full version comes with space for 16 words and definitions, together with example sentences or notes, and the compact version gives you space for 48 words. And both of these also come with checkboxes, so you can quiz yourself later on. And that leads me to the next one, the vocabulary quiz sheet. This one looks similar to the vocabulary worksheet, but you can use it by first writing the words you're trying to memorize on the left side along with their definitions right below. Then use a second piece of paper to cover up the definition in the first box and quiz yourself by writing that in the second box. For example, if you're learning the word 원숭이, meaning monkey, you'd cover up the definition and write down monkey in the box to the right of 원숭이. Then, to keep going, fold the left box behind the page and continue to the third and fourth box in the same way. Because the word and the definition will switch places each time, you can quiz yourself going both ways. Now, I used a similar type of vocabulary quiz back when I was a beginner, but nowadays I just use a flashcard program, but it's there if you need it. And last but not least are two classic notebook pages. One is a small grid if you prefer a grid for your notes, and the other is typical lined paper. So when you're just writing something down, at least it'll match with the rest of your notebook. Okay, so those are all of the sheets that you'll get. Again, they're free on my Patreon page. But before we go, I want to give you some tips for how you can make your study notebook even better. First is that a study notebook is actually useful 2 times. The first time when you write everything down, and the second time is when you review your notes. So if you're just writing notes and never looking at them again, you're only getting half of the benefit. In fact, my study notebooks are useful 3 times because I actually recommend keeping 2 sets of notes. So what I do is I'll first write things down as I learn them, and then I'll review them later on. And then much later, I'll go back and take notes using my study notebook. So I'll have my original notes and then notes on my notes. Noteception. Also, when you write things down, it helps to say them out loud, especially when you write down sentences. When you say it out loud, that makes sure that your studying is active studying instead of just passive studying, which is much more effective. My next tip is try to organize your notes, so don't just throw everything into a pile. Staple or paper clip together concepts that are related. You can keep your vocabulary notes in one place and your grammar notes in another place like that. I like to actually just keep a separate book just for my vocabulary so that I can use it kind of like a dictionary later on. In fact, I'll sometimes go back into my old notes and find interesting words that I wrote down but never really studied. Now, if you prefer, you can organize your notes by the date, but really I recommend organizing by the topic. It's much easier to review grammar and things later on if it's all in the same spot. My next tip is to keep a log of your study time. So the date, the time, how long you studied, and what you learned. Also write down whether what you studied was more active and involved or if it was more passive and relaxed. Like if you just watched a TV show with popcorn or if you were actively reading and translating a short story. Now, you can already do all of this with my time tracker, but whether you use that sheet or not, just write down something. Plus, if you ever end up asking a Korean teacher for advice, it's much easier for me to know how to help you if I can know exactly how often as well as what you're actually studying. And my last tip is to use colored pens and highlighters and not just do everything with a pencil or a pen. For example, if you're studying a new grammar form, highlight the important parts you think you might need to review later. And use different colors to underline things and to make your notes easier to review later on. Plus, this is more fun and you're more likely to use your notes again if they actually look nice. Okay, and that's it. Again, to download all of these, just click on the link in the video description box to go to my Patreon page, and you'll get access to all of these as well as to a lot of other cool stuff like my free Korean cheat sheets. So thank you for watching, and special thanks again to my Patreon supporters and channel members. Please like this video, click subscribe for more Korean learning content, and I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.